I believe personally that when it's all said and done, you'll build a CPG empire, you'll sell albums and like get stars in the hall, and you'll lots of cool things. But I think the biggest legacy you guys can leave is actually impacting this conversation, because you're living it and you're going through it in a way that I admire, because it's really fucking hard. People are struggling out there with this conversation and they're blaming things. They'd rather blame TikTok and the phone for their lack of strategic parenting. We lack accountability on this subject matter from the kids level and the parents level. And I think you four sit in a very unique place to make a massive impact on the world on this. And I will continue behind the scenes to encourage you to make content around this, because you can really help people. Escapism is powerful, but thoughtful, real conversations about human dynamics, that's how you change the world in a positive way. And I think you have a lot of credibility in this arena and are sitting with a lot of stuff in your head and your stomach that you haven't brought out yet. And I hope to see you do that. What's cooking?
I guess our latest thing that we've announced has been my mom and I competing against each other on season 31 of Dancing with the Stars.
Which is massive. So let's just get right into it, because I think competition is the coolest thing on earth. Do you think you guys will get chippy about this? Like, will there be emotions? When one of you gets eliminated, will the other person be happy? Or like, where are we at? I mean, obviously you should be the heavy favorite, given that's like your identity. Like, you're actually epic dancer. Mom, I have no clue where you sit in this world. I don't know if she took your DNA or what.
I was a competition dancer when I was...
Oh, okay, so this is gonna actually be interesting.
But I haven't done it in over like 30 years.
But it's like riding a bike, right?
Forever ago.
Yeah, it's a long time ago.
I hope it's like riding a bike.
I think...
Would you be devastated if your mom beat you?
No.
You'd be happy for her?
I would definitely be happy for her. I am aware of the competition aspect, and I've watched the show, so I know what... Sometimes you might get your best style and I might get my worst, and that's just how the week rolls out, and I get out and then I get to still go and watch her. So it's kind of a win-win for me, because at least I'll still... One of us is going to get out first, and whoever that is, we'll see.
Really? I think it's more of a win-win for you.
Oh, for sure.
Because she's the heavy
if she
favorite.
wins, like, but forget
about being a mom.
That.
No, forget about that.
You can't.
Well, I know that.
No, but it's a weird thing. It's like, obviously, I want to win.
About competition, not like humanity.
No, I want to win. I do. I want to win. But like, the best win is if she wins. Like, that's a win-win for me.
No, I don't
it's
buy
not.
that.
I think she's lying.
Like,
it's a PR answer.
No,
you're so media trained.
Okay, when you become a mom,
it's true. Listen, I get it. Like my son gets a base hit in baseball, and I think I like won the Nobel Peace Prize.
Exactly.
I do fully understand the parent thing now. If I was playing baseball against my son, I'd want to strike his little ass out. How's the music stuff going?
Good. I did a tour this summer, and then I kind of took a little bit of a break. And
what's been the hardest part, and what's been the most enjoyable part? You know, I know you knew like going into this genre was going to come with all sorts of different things. Mm-hmm. Music's like a rough one. You know, like what ended up being way harder than even your very thoughtful, like this is going to fucking suck. Fuck, it sucked more. And then on the flip side, what did you think you were going to like, and it's even like better than you thought?
Writing is definitely, for me, like this is a totally personal thing. Writing and getting my emotions into songs was very difficult for me, because I was no one cares. No one cares about what I'm feeling, or I'm sad this day. And that's I don't want to say regret, but I do regret not putting that into my album. And like my dad was like, you should do that. You have a story to tell. You're not doing that. And I'm like, no, it's fine. And then I ended up doing like a bunch of like breakup songs or just random filler songs that were really cool and fun for the kids, but it's not me. So now I'm looking back, I'm like, oh, I should have done that, and for moving on, like, that's what I'm going to do. Yep. But performing is the best part of all of it. Like, crazy, the amount of adrenaline and, like, love it.
Good for you.
I had a great time doing that. But, no, I definitely know for the future, people want to hear that. Like, as much as you think no one cares, there are someone who, like, wants to hear that.
People have shared experiences, just the way it is. Yeah. Pops, what's going on with you?
We're having fun, man. You know, you're talking about, I'm in the clothing business, and we just launched a brand company. So we took investment, we got some great investors, and we started a company called DAMELIO Brands, We announced it yesterday, and it's going to be things that we incubate and own 100% with our investors. Michael Rubin's an investor with us, and we have a great group of people. And we've opened an office in Hollywood, and we're starting. First launch is we're bringing our merch over to this, so we'll have a nice revenue stream into the company. And our second is launching a women's footwear company. So,
women's footwear. Yeah, I mean, I think, when I wrote Crush It, I kind of talked about the concept of like, you can make money being on the internet. And like, if you go read the first 50 reviews on Amazon, people are like, you're gonna laugh at this one. Literally one of the comments is like, yeah, you're gonna make $100,000 a year on YouTube. That's how crazy it was in 2008. But, obviously, and one of the biggest reasons I started Vayner was the concept of CPGs, consumer packaged goods. I've already started one and sold one with Empathy Wines. When I saw that coming down the pike, if we're talking like, this is a business podcast and as it touches on other things, but like, that's the big one. That's the elephant in the room. Like, if you nail one, the toothpaste, the shampoo, the deodorant, the footwear, like one item in that category, that's the empire building.
Yeah. And we want to be really thoughtful about the products and the categories. And what we've learned is, Charlie moved the needle for Invisalign. The CEO came out and said, one quarter in 2000, their market cap went up 25%. And then Dunkin' Donuts sold out cold brew. So we can move the needle, but we don't want to get into just doing
this and this.
And we want to have thoughtful products.
I actually think you're also in a better spot now than even, because Charlie not being in the singular most white hot moment of her career is actually a good thing. Like, I'm sure that it's harder for Charlie, knowing how social plays and like how the world works, to sell as much Dunkin' in a day as that perfect moment where she's at, but in a year she can sell more. It's like a very interesting curve that people don't understand, right? It's like, and I actually think that is a huge benefit for how you're gonna build, because what it does is it doesn't trick you into the ease of it. Like, it's kind of how I'm thinking about VeeFriends. Right. I like that crypto's ice cold right now because the depth gets to show up versus people were buying porcupines with cigarettes up its ass for $400,000. That wasn't sustainable. And like, from Madonna to LeBron to everybody has different peaks and valleys of their mass popularity, and I think it's actually healthy that you're in this zone, the mature, what I'd call a mature zone, to like do it for your own stuff. Charlie, what's going on with you and content? Obviously, so much of this started with you making content. What's your couple things? What's your observation of like the social media landscape from a content standpoint, not like political this or that, just like what you're seeing, what you're interested in. And then number two, on a personal level, like you, the human, where are you in your interest to make content and where and how and what?
So for me, I would say at a time where I could have really, I could have done everything and posted 24/7, and I instead took a step back and stopped posting as much. And I think that was a good thing, because now I am getting back into it and I'm not feeling burnt out and I'm feeling excited to make content again. And even though that might have hurt me then, this is going to help me in the long run, because I'll be able to make content for longer and do the dances and do all the fun stuff and make videos with my friends. But it took that little bit for me to then be able to do this for years and years and years. And obviously always watching what's going on each platform and what's working well and what's not. I do obviously pay attention to that because that's important. But also listening to the people that are watching and seeing what they enjoy seeing from me and what types of content they like. They obviously still love the dances, and when I do them, that's super fun. I don't do them as much, but getting back into it a little bit more now. And I think social media, especially TikTok as a platform, has changed a lot in what you see. It's a little bit more people's videos blowing up and then it kind of dying out a little bit, instead of people that are on your For You page 24/7. Obviously, I'm very lucky to have a strong fan base that will watch all of my videos and comment on them. And I'm very lucky for that, but that doesn't happen for anyone. So I haven't seen too many people get that kind of blow up. Everyone's watching them for longer than like a week or two.
You could have sustained crazy growth. You were in that era where it wasn't, so your one video went viral, but then it was like build. Now, every person on earth is producing for the platform multiple times a day, and it's supply and demand. Even though there's so much more attention on TikTok than there was when you started, the amount of content has outpaced that attention.
And the rise of micro-influencers as well, going side by side with that.
Of course, it's supply. You know, if there's 4 million people producing for TikTok at the time when you're doing it, and now there's 400 million, that's going to lead to more micro because everyone's getting 25,000 views instead of fewer people getting 4 million views. It's just the same old game, and that makes a lot of sense. What I really liked, one thing that people forget about in my career is I made content every day, 5 days a week, doing the wine show for 5 years, Monday through Friday. And then when I got serious about VaynerMedia, I barely made content from 2011 to 2014 because I was fully operating. And I remember when I started back up and did the Ask Gary Vee show, how pumped I was to do it and how much I dragged the last 100 episodes of Wine Library TV. Obviously a bigger window in a different format, but I can really relate / it's a good piece of advice for a lot of people listening right now. You know, maybe you aren't blowing up to the same level that Charlie did, but if you're feeling stale or tired, yes, I believe that you should take advantage of the opportunity of making content, but if you're not looking forward to it, you need to either take a break or change up what you're making. Let's make some content that's gonna help the next crew on the next platform that they can look to. For you two, and from mom and dad, because I know you're observing this because you love your children more than anything. The 30 of you, this 80 of you two represent a crew of about 150 or so that were part of that era. Addison, that crew. I've always been fascinated by that. I've always watched that. Even from like fucking MySpace of like Dane Cook and Tila Tequila talking about shit 5 years after they blew up on MySpace. There's these crews. I had it with like tech nerds on Twitter because that was so tech nerdy. Just like all these years later, we're still have friendships. They've evolved. A lot of our band got back together again with Web3 after not talking for a while. Give a little insight to the evolution of like the relationships, the crew, like who burns out and moves back home from LA, like just some of the subtleties that may help for somebody in 7 years when they listen to this, because they're part of that 150 person group on the new platform puzzle that has taken over the world. Like, what are some of the dynamics, the watch outs, the interesting stuff? I mean, it's like cliche high school stuff of like who you trust and all that, but are there any like unique insights or anything that you find fascinating, or like a scenario or like a for instance that you find is cool of like these two people decided to do this or anything like that?
I think what's really surprising is how many people took advantage of the opportunity.
Yeah.
Like
in a good way.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like everyone moved to LA. Like at the same time, there was probably 200 kids who all came to LA at the same time, which I watched Viners and YouTubers and they would stay home for years building this, but because it was so fast, everyone just got there. And
you all had the benefit of seeing, like Logan's career through Vine gave you a preview of what could be, which led parents, the parents of a generation earlier is like, you're not going to fucking LA. This is Vine. Whereas for your parents, there was at least proxies of being like, well, this is something we have to debate because it may be a real thing. No different than like going to college to play professional sports.
You helped
to get
a
to
lot too. Gary said it's cool. Gary said we can make money from it.
100%. I think the reason that so many people that were, you know, at the same time as us doing the same things, we were all making videos together. It was very much this whole big group of people. Of
course.
And a lot of those people also have since done things in very positive ways to kind of put themselves out there in a lot of on different platforms, doing podcasts, making brands, making products, movies, acting, singing, all of that stuff. I think we have we came up with a really good group of people that all
Do you
really
think you
wanted
also-
to
Do you
do
think
it.
you guys also did a good job curating the people you stayed close with?
Absolutely. I think it's obviously now better than when I was 15,
Of
but
course.
I don't know. I'm friends with everyone.
Yeah.
Like if I see someone, even if I don't talk to them,
Well,
I'm still friends.
Yeah, I think there's a difference.
Friendly
But
with a
listen,
lot
I'm the
of
same.
people.
Like the thought of like disliking someone is so foreign to
Yeah.
me. But to the point of like, there's a difference between an acquaintance,
Yeah.
a half acquaintance, half lightweight friend, a lightweight friend, a core friend, a best friend, right?
I think for me, I have a lot of people that I like, a lot of people that I care about, a lot of people that I consider friends, maybe text more than I see.
Sure.
But I really only hang out with like 3 people.
I get
But
it.
I think if we were like wanted to do this and did more business moves with the other creators, it would have been amazing.
Yeah,
And,
I totally get it.
We should have been doing more YouTube videos together, more collabs and stuff like that.
What about, to really help a lot of people here, the parents ecosystem? What's your observation several years in now of maybe the watch out for the parent that's listening right now that in 4 years their kid goes from 0 to 4 million on Puzzle in a week? By the way, I really hope Puzzle happens. What did you see was the cliche misstep? That isn't the obvious one of like, they just cared about the money and they didn't care about their kid. Like, was there any subtleties or an insight or something that was like an interesting observation along the way?
I have one.
Please.
Just
Yeah.
as a daughter,
Go ahead.
you have to allow your parents to still be your parents. And instead of being a friend or a buddy who will...
Do you feel like some of your friends, because they were making so much money, it changed the relationship and they were
Absolutely.
shitting on their parents and not allowing them that breathing room?
Yeah, I
Makes
think you
sense.
still need to be able to go to your parents and talk about normal things. And I was
in trouble.
Yeah, get in trouble, have to clean your room, do all those things. Ask for your parents to drive you everywhere. Like, you still have to have that relationship with them. Like, that's why I would never want them, even though I think you could be an amazing manager. He would never do it. I would never want him to do
Of
it.
course, it changes the dynamic.
But I will still go to him and ask for
course,
advice
it's your
because he
pops.
cares about me more than anyone.
I get it.
I think our biggest thing was I am old enough to have heard all the horror stories of dads and moms getting involved. And
Yeah.
I think what I would say,
Like
and
those 80s sitcom things, right? Like Gary Coleman and like Webster and like all that.
and as good as I was as far as in the apparel industry, it didn't, some things translate to Hollywood. And
Most things don't.
I knew starting my own clothing brand, I used to constantly try to do things on my own, and I would waste time. And we early on just put experts with us. We hired a business manager, top attorney in LA,
Yeah.
and Greg, obviously getting Greg to come over from UTA to be
big.
president of our company. So I would tell parents, no matter how
Smart.
how
you
many
think
degrees you
are.
have and how smart you are, lean on an expert. And I would say get involved. Really don't look at it like, oh, that's just something the kids are doing. Like, get involved as much as your kids will let you get involved.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of, just to piggyback what Charlie said, I think when you're, as a parent and your kid starts making more money than you, it sort of puts the relationship off balance.
Yep.
And I mean, we also have always said, like, I love them more than anything. I'm not your friend, I'm your parent.
Yeah.
And we never switched up on that.
What do you think is a weird product, a weird one, not the obvious one, that you think you like might want to do?
Well, for me, I have like this thing of like, and there's a lot in my life of like the perfect white t-shirt, the perfect sock that doesn't slip down.
So like simplicity,
I want like
function?
a whole thing
Yeah.
of like things that I'm searching for in my life,
Yeah.
selfishly, but
Yeah.
I know other people have to be feeling the same.
I like that.
Dog products too.
Dog
We're
stuff.
a big
It's a
dog.
big market.
Gary, I'll say
Yeah.
one thing, which I know you're a dad, and through this whole experience and why we're doing the brands thing, and I'll to say it to all the parents out there, there's been so many times I've said something to my kids and they've either rolled their eyes or they've been like, whatever. But to see both Charlie and Dixie in business meetings and then knowing they got something from me or Heidi. So I would say to parents, don't stop being parents, and they are listening whether they realize it or not.
Especially when your shit ends up being true.
Yeah.
Like I see it at forget about kids, in my company, like they constantly roll like their eyes at this company, after all the things I was right about, laughed at me for TikTok.
Yeah.
Like, no, they're always listening. And I think, to your point, this is where parents have to be very careful. When you just say shit that you're not fully confident in and you're listening to other parents. For parents, you're listening to your parents, not yourself, and not looking at your kid. If you're gonna say something and then it ends up being wrong, like for all the parents over the last 15 years that told their kids, get off social media, you'll never make money on that, and then all these people did, you're gonna have a problem for them to listen to you more in the future. It's when you tell your kids tried and true things around humanity and like how people deal with each other that then end up being true, that starts to build credibility and makes them listen to you more the next time.
Yeah, I'm stupid not to listen to him.
I get it.
But I think even flipping it, like having my parents trust me to be able to talk in business meetings and really have my own career that I have a voice in, I think was something that made me respect what they had to say so much more because they trusted me and they respected what I had to say.
I would argue that what you just said is the single thing that I spend the most time thinking about how to make content around, because the counter to what you just said is when parents pay for their kid's life, which directly tells that child that that parent doesn't believe the kid can stand on their own 2 feet. Too many parents, and you guys grew up in neighborhoods around the tri-state area that you're gonna know exactly what I'm about to say because you saw it with kids above your own kids while you were watching as you were raising them, just like I did, and most parents that care about their kids. Parents' fear for kids to be in situations that are challenging has destroyed the kid. If you, like, when you were just talking, Charlie, I got so happy because it's the opposite of what I'm scared about every day, which is parents continue to overcoddle children, and what they think they're doing is helping, and what they're doing is they're signaling to the kid, I don't think you're capable of doing shit without my help, which then renders that kid to not be confident. For me, I just really think we're in a very unique time in modern history where parenting and kid and parent dynamics, all these opportunities the internet brings. I actually think that you guys in a lot of ways are the preview, not the anomaly. I think we touched on it. It's micro. It won't be at the scale that you're at. However, when everyone's like, these Gen Zs, they're entitled, I'm like, they understand their options. You guys know this intimately. The average 17-year-old understands that she or he can make $60,000 a year on YouTube and TikTok and flipping shit on eBay and Postmark, like, instead of getting a job they despise. That's not entitlement, that's called being fucking smart. Mm-hmm. And so like parenting and the way they view things, I think the college debt thing is a whole fucking to-do, and like still staying parents and all this stuff. We touched on a lot of it here. I'd like to touch on it with you guys sometime in the future even more, because I believe personally that when it's all said and done, you'll build a CPG empire, you'll sell albums and like get stars in the hall, and lots of cool things. But I think the biggest legacy you guys can leave is actually impacting this conversation, because you're living it and you're going through it in a way that I admire, because it's really fucking hard. And I think these stories that we touched on a little bit is something at some point, especially for mom and dad, that you need to really think about, because people are struggling out there with this conversation and they're blaming things. They'd rather blame TikTok and the phone for their lack of strategic parenting. We lack accountability on this subject matter from the kids level and the parents level. And I think you four sit in a very unique place to make a massive impact on the world on this. And I will continue behind the scenes to encourage you to make content around this, because you can really help people. It's awesome to do content that helps people escape. I really think entertainment's super important. Like watching someone dance, watching a Hulu show, like that 30 minutes, that 5 seconds, that's important. People have complicated lives. Escapism is powerful, but thoughtful, real conversations about human dynamics, that's how you change the world in a positive way. And I think you have a lot of credibility in this arena and are sitting with a lot of stuff in your head and your stomach that you haven't brought out yet. And I hope to see you do that.